Hi, and welcome to Morpheus Nights. This video is made to help you relax, exhale, and softly drift towards sleep. Get comfortable, turn the volume a little lower, and let the day go. It's already over. Here, everything is calm, cozy, and safe. And now, let's begin. The night cafe, and a dog who understands everything. In a big city, there's a certain hour when it stops feeling enormous, stops pressing down with neon and intersections, and suddenly becomes a closed little music box, the kind you shut so everything inside can finally calm down. Windows go dark, traffic lights blink lazily, like they're yawning too. And if snow is falling, it falls the way a tired person sits down in a warm place and decides, very politely, not to rush anymore. That was the hour when Lera and Kira stepped into a night cafe with no name on its sign, as if the owner had decided long ago that the people who truly need this place don't require large letters. They'll find it anyway, by the smell of coffee, by the soft light, by that strange feeling that says, safe. Inside, it was warm. Not the loud, suffocating kind of warm, but the correct winter kind. The air carried a trace of the cold each visitor brought in, and that made everything feel alive, lightly breathing. Even the window glass, etched with delicate frost patterns, didn't look like a barrier. It looked like an invitation. A fireplace crackled in the corner, real or decorative. No one felt like investigating, because fireplaces are like that. If they give you the feeling you can exhale, then they're real enough. And beside it, on a small rug, lay a dog, large, dark ginger, calm-faced, as if he'd lived several lives, and in each one had concluded that people are odd, but generally tolerable. He's like security, Kira said quietly, unwinding her scarf and smoothing her hair, which had that winter static that insists on becoming a dramatic hairstyle without permission. Only the kind of security that doesn't stress you out. A rare species, Lera murmured, smiling as if she were being extremely serious. Most security looks at you like you stole oxygen. They chose a table near the fire, but not too close. They wanted warmth without losing winter entirely. They liked the thin border between cold outside and calm inside. Liked proving, for a few minutes, that winter didn't get to decide everything for them. Kira slid the menu toward Lera. It was so natural, as if they'd been sharing menus, tickets, plans, and silences for years. You're going to stare at this for 5 minutes, Lera said, and then order whatever I order. I do not order whatever you order, Kira replied, with the dignity of someone defending a sacred principle. I simply love confident women. Fine. Lera tilted her head, accepting the compliment as a fact. Then I'll order something extremely confident, like tea. Wow, Kira deadpanned. Bold. The waitress didn't come immediately. She arrived exactly when the pause became the right kind of pause. Night cafes are good at that. She wore a dark apron, her smile soft, her eyes steady, the eyes of someone who's seen late dates and late loneliness, and never turned either into tragedy. Good night, she said, like it wasn't a formality but a small promise. The fireplace is trying especially hard tonight. What are we warming? Hands or thoughts? If there's an option for both, Lera said. Coffee with cinnamon and milk, Kira answered without looking at the menu, because her internal compass always pointed to cinnamon in winter. And something, not too sweet, but with the vibe of Life is still a decent idea. The waitress nodded, professionally understanding. We have exactly that. Not too sweet, but very convincing. She turned to Lera. And for you? Lera was about to pretend she'd choose something unexpected, but Kira was already watching her, with that quiet look that gently nudges you toward honesty. Coffee, too, Lera confessed. And, if you have anything with apple and warmth, bring that. Apple and warmth are in stock, the waitress said, and her smile suggested she didn't mean only dessert. By the fireplace, the dog opened one eye, evaluated them, sighed, and settled back down, like someone checking acceptable humans. Kira leaned in a little. In her voice, there was that end-of-day warmth, the kind you get when you don't have to prove anything anymore. I'm glad you came out, she said. I didn't come out, Lera corrected softly, a little stubborn, a little playful. I chose. Different thing. Of course, Kira smiled. You love choosing, especially while pretending nobody convinced you. Lera wanted to answer with something sharp. Then the dog stood up, stretched slowly, like a masterclass in relaxation, and, without hurry, walked to their table. On his collar hung a small metal tag, and attached to it was a folded piece of sturdy paper, neatly creased, as if someone had done it with intent. The dog nudged Kira's knee, no begging, no fuss, then sat beside her and looked up like, You can handle this. He brought you a letter, Lera said. Not to me, Kira replied, carefully touching the paper. To us. She unclipped it, unfolded it, and there were only a few words, written in tidy, slightly old-fashioned handwriting. If you're here in winter, you know how to look for warmth. Find one more. Start with the fireplace. Kira lifted her gaze to Lera. A small spark lit in her eyes. Not the kind that jolts you awake, but the kind that warms you from the inside. A quest, she whispered. A trap, Lera said calmly. We're about to get pulled into someone's cute tradition. The worst thing that can happen is we get dessert. Terrifying, Kira murmured, pressing the note flat with her palm, as if to keep it from flying away with her smile. Should we go to the fireplace? Lera glanced at the dog, who had already returned to the rug. Only now he was slightly closer, like an escort who doesn't make a show of escorting. Let's go, Lera said, and her voice carried the nicest thing in the world. Quiet readiness to be beside someone. They stood, leaving their scarves on the chair backs, and walked toward the fire, where the crackling was steady and soft, like the flames had been set to do not disturb. Kira leaned toward the mantel, searching, and Lera thought, very suddenly, that this would be a good night, not because something big would happen, but because the small things were finally arranging themselves correctly. On the mantel, Kira spotted a thin copper plate, engraved with an arrow, pointing toward a bookcase along the wall, and the night gently invited them onward. The bookcase looked like it had always lived there, not as decoration, but as part of the cafe's personality. Some places wear their coziness on the outside. Others tuck it into details, and that kind feels more honest. The books were arranged with no strict system, as if someone had sorted them not by alphabet but by mood. Between the spines, now and then, you could see postcards, wooden bookmarks, slips of paper that didn't feel accidental. Kira reached the shelf first, not because she was impatient, but because she liked mysteries that didn't demand effort, just offered a gentle invitation. She accepted that invitation the way she accepted a hot drink, calmly. "What are we looking for?" Lera asked, her voice quiet, like she didn't want to disturb the balance of the night. "Probably one more warmth," Kira said, narrowing her eyes with that pleasant, attentive focus of someone who can find meaning in small things. "Or a key, or a note, or we're about to be forced to read," Lera added, with a dramatic sigh that sounded suspiciously pleased. Kira laughed softly, a quick, clear little lantern of a laugh. She ran her fingers over the spines, not rushing, not hunting, more like listening to the shelf. Then she paused at a slim book in a deep blue cover. No title, only a small silver snowflake. It slid out easily, and a small envelope fell from behind it. Thick paper, warm cream color, sealed with wax. The seal was a paw print. "That is aggressively adorable," Lera said. "I warned you," Kira replied, lifting the envelope like evidence. "We've been pulled into a tradition." The dog raised his head, watching them closely, like he wanted to make sure they didn't ruin the script. Kira broke the seal carefully. Inside was a note. "You found the first clue. In this cafe, we don't collect other people's secrets. We let them go. If you want to continue, find the place where cups wait for their hour, where warmth becomes quieter. And yes, the dog's name is Gray. He doesn't judge, but he does observe." "Where cups wait for their hour," Lera repeated. "So, the dish shelf. Romantic." Kira touched Lera's elbow lightly, just enough to confirm the connection. That touch was familiar, and still a little new, like a favorite song you keep hearing for the first time. "I like that you complain and still come with me," Kira said. "I complain so I look smarter," Lera replied, but her smile softened the sharpness. "And because if you start believing the world is one big postcard, someone has to keep balance. And what if sometimes it is?" Kira leaned in slightly. "Not always, but sometimes." Lera had something clever ready, something about not spoiling the universe with expectations. When the waitress appeared with their order, exactly on time, as if the cafe itself had a rhythm. Coffee smelled of cinnamon and something barely noticeable, like the memory of a warm scarf. The apple dessert looked like it had been designed specifically for winter nights, when you want beauty, without effort. The waitress noticed the envelope and didn't look surprised. She smiled like someone who's part of a small, quiet magic, but refuses to turn it into a show. "Gray chose you," she said. "Good sign. Are you continuing?" "That implies we have a choice," Lera said. "You do," the waitress replied, tilting her head. "You can simply drink coffee and be happy. Honestly, that's also a quest. Not everyone knows how to finish it." The words landed cleanly. For a second, Lera's expression turned serious, because that hit something precise. Then she refused to let the moment become overly profound and gave a small, controlled smirk. "Fine," she said. "We'll continue. But if the next clue requires physical activity, I will file an official complaint." Kira made a solemn gesture as if taking an oath. "I will be your lawyer in the court case against physical activity." They drank a few sips slowly, letting warmth settle into the body where it belongs. Then they stood, because the mystery wasn't pushing, only calling gently. "Leave the day behind. It's already over." Outside, winter kept the city quiet on purpose. Snow fell in patient layers, streetlights blurred into soft halos, and the air felt slower, like the night had decided to protect anyone who was tired. Lera and Kira slipped into the nameless cafe without a plan, which was, honestly, their best plan. Warm light met them at the door. The fireplace crackled in the corner. Steady, calm, and Gray lay on his rug like the calmest employee in the building. He opened one eye, checked them, and closed it again. They took their usual table near the fire, not too close, because they liked warmth that didn't demand anything. Kira wrapped her hands around her cup. Lera took one careful sip, pretending it was purely for taste, not comfort. "Don't get used to this," Lera said quietly. Kira's eyes smiled. "Used to being warm? Used to being okay," Lera corrected. "My brain hates it when it can't find a problem." As if the cafe had heard her, Gray stood up, stretched slowly, like a tutorial in relaxation, and walked over. A folded card was clipped to his collar, neat and deliberate. Kira unclipped it and unfolded the paper. "Start where cups wait for their hour," she read softly. Lera sighed, already defeated. "Fine. Lead me to the secrets, Gray." Gray walked ahead with calm authority. Behind the counter, near a quiet service door, a shelf of clean cups stood stacked like small white moons. Tucked among them, a wooden box with a tiny snowflake on its lid. Kira reached for it. Then Lera stopped her gently. "Wait," Lera said. "Let me." "Why?" "Because you're already too delighted," Lera answered. "And I want to feel useful too." Lera opened the box. Inside, a small brass key and a folded note. "Look where people leave what they no longer need to carry." They glanced toward the coat rack near the entrance. Gray sat beside a low drawer under it, patient, certain. The lock turned easily. Inside were lost gloves and a small tin with a paw print. "Oh," Lera whispered. "Gray again." Kira opened it. A note inside read, "Find the table that is always free, and take the gift, if you decide to take it together." They found the window table, slightly aside, quietly waiting. A warm little lamp sat there, and beneath it, a ribbon-tied bundle. 2 ceramic key tags inside, snowflakes, and the word, "Night." "That's cute," Lera said, sounding like surrender. Kira handed one to her. "Together," she said simply. Their fingers brushed. A quiet spark, not alarming, just good. Outside, snow fell steadily. Gray sat at the cafe door, watching them like a wise employee releasing guests without ceremony. "He's a good dog," Kira said. "He's a professional," Lera replied. "Confident, no anxiety. We all need a Gray." They walked side by side, unhurried. At a quiet crossroads, Kira watched her breath turn into a small cloud. "I feel better," she said. Lera didn't ask why. She didn't dissect it. "Me too," she said, simply. Kira looked at the night tag in her hand. "I don't think the gift was the tag," she murmured. "I think together is the gift." Lera paused, because some sentences can't be walked past. "We're already together," she said, calm, steady. Kira's smile was small, relieved. "I know," she whispered. "I just like hearing it." Lera nodded. "Then listen," she said softly. "I choose you. No fuss, no drama, just you." Kira exhaled, and the breath cloud vanished like a piece of anxiety letting go. And they kept walking, shoulders brushing sometimes, lightly, not staged. Behind them, somewhere inside the cafe, the fireplace kept crackling, steady, like a promise that didn't need to be loud. Good night, and let the warmth you find stay.